Okay, let's do a little run through of how we are going to control how many rows per page we get. Right now, it looks at the size of the paper that you've specified, and it decides how many rows you're going to fit on that on the paper. But there's no built-in way to set the number of rows on the screen. Now you could make the paper smaller, but that's kind of kludgy. See if we come in here, go to the report, properties, see here's the page size of the paper. So we could make the height smaller, and that would reduce how many rows are on the page. It's a very simple way to do it compared to the way you end up having to do it, because there really should be a feature in here where you just say, I don't care about the size of the page, I only want so many records on each row. But no, you've got to do it programmatically. So let's start off by just counting the rows. So let's so we're going to put an expression in this column, and we use row num. We use row number. I'm just going to cut and paste it from. I've already got the calculations here. Okay, so row number nothing. Now nothing is a little bit of Visual Basics seeping in here. That means null. And basically, if we're feeding row number is the scope, and null is the outermost scope. So in this case, it's the total number of rows on the page. So far as we're printing out. So let's just see what that does. So we'll preview it, and now you can see we're counting the rows, and now you can see we have about 43 rows per page. So we go down. So you see we have about 43. Now we want to have, like, say 10, so you don't have to do any scrolling. Okay. So what do you do? Well, what we have to do is we have to create a formula for that, and we have to put it in a grouping. So what we have to do is we have to come down here and say add group, and it needs to be a parent to the current group, and we want this to be a function. So let me come to this function here. So what we're going to do, this is the final function here. So let me change this, because we don't have this parameter yet. So we're going to hard code it to 10. And let's put that in here. That's intermediate step. So now we say OK. And now we try and preview it, and we get this error. We get this funky error about sort expression. And we're like, sort expression? We didn't do anything with the sort expression. Well, it did. So we come in here, and we hit the text box properties, and we go to, no, it's a table. Table property. Yeah, here's sorting. No sorting. Okay. Group tablex sorting. Nope. Group properties sorting. Here it is. It put an expression in here. It stuffed our expression down into the sorting for some reason. That's kind of weird. Because it's also here. This is actually where it's being stored. It's being stored here. But Microsoft has this, I guess it's like a weird bug or something, that it actually stores it down here too. So we have to get rid of that. Oops. So we got rid of that. Okay, that gets rid of our bug. Yep, that's our bug. Now here's our new calculation. So it's doing a ceiling calculation. It's dividing it by this number by 10, and then performing ceiling, which basically makes it round up to the nearest whole number. So if you divide this by 10, all these numbers, they round up to 1. And this is a parent grouping, so it puts it out here. It gives us only one value for all of these, puts it out here. So normally you could like drill down and stuff like this. So this is like a parent hierarchy for drilling. And so now it's going to round up to 2, and then it's going to round up to 3, and so and so and so and so. Okay, so that's the so the calculation is working. So basically we want a new page when it hits that number. As soon as it hits 2, we want a new page. Then we want a new page. So now what we want to do is what did we do? Group properties, page breaks. That's right. We want to page break on each group, right? Because you can do that. That there's a standard parameter for that. If we come back in here, so there's a standard parameter for that. So we go in the group properties, breaks. Oh, this is the one that's already got it. So this is the one that doesn't have it. So now we want to go back into the group properties, breaks. So we want to add a break. So now that we add the break, now it's going to break on groups. So ta-da! It broke on the group. Broke on the group. Broke on the group. Broke on the group. Now we can get rid of this. This is just junk now. So we can go back here and we can click here and we can delete it. And we can delete it because this isn't where our calculation is stored. This was just this was just for testing purposes. See, but be careful here because delete the column and associated groups. So we don't want to get rid of the group because that's where the calculation is. So we're just going to delete the column. So now that there's kind of like a ghost of the group still there. It still knows the group is there, and so it's still going to be able to page based on that group because the grouping is still there. It's down here. And if we go to the properties, we can see that our expression is still here. So our grouping expression is still there. So we can still page based on the grouping. So that's a little bit about creating groups and what groups do and how expressions are used. Oh, but what if you want the user to be able to do this, right? What if the user can do this? So now you're going to have to create a parameter. And I'm going to have to go back into the video for that. Okay, so let's end there.